I'm really happy that we were able to, like you said, through communication, step away from our, tradition and say what really works for us as a family and how can we do what's right for us.
Hey, I'm Khadeen Ellis.
And I'm Devale.
And this is Couch Conversation. So Devale and I have been together for almost 16 years and married for almost 8. And we find ourselves debating about the same things. So we figured we would open up the debate to other couples to see how they feel about these things. And we're going to bring the conversation to you. Hey, beautiful people. I'm Khadeen Ellis.
And I'm Devale Ellis.
And we're back for another episode of Couch Conversations. It's funny, when I heard this topic, I thought about, when talking to our producer, Cody, what it is that people say is the center of their marriage. And she's like, you know what? Sometimes people say, make God the center of your marriage. But that may not be the case for some people.
Or what if you believe in a different God?
Exactly.
Right.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about personal beliefs and religion. And we want to find out from our couples today, what is at the center of your marriage? But before we dive into that, we want to hear a little bit about you and see who we're talking to today. So on the couch, let's start over to my right.
My name's Edward, LA transplant. I come originally from Tennessee. Been out here for 18 years.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Very nice.
My name is Sheena. I'm LA born and raised.
Okay. Married for how long?
We've been married for we just hit our 10-year mark.
Oh, good.
Congrats, man. Congrats.
And together for how long before that?
Like 18 years.
Very
wow.
nice.
So a total of 18.
That's what's
Yeah.
up, man.
Right.
Congrats.
Dope.
Congrats.
Any children?
We have 2 children,
Okay.
a boy and a girl.
Ah, nice, nice.
9 and 5 months.
Yes.
9 and 5 months, okay. So y'all still in the thick of it with the 5-month-old.
Yeah.
So y'all gonna go take a nap after this.
I kind of peeped Ezra before this taking a nap before this, so I don't blame you. I say get it in while you can when you have these babies under 1. I love it. And to my left we have.
Yes, I'm Irena Ferguson, and we have 4 children at home.
Okay.
We have a 19-year-old with special needs, a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 2-month-old, and I have 2 amazing stepsons out of state from a previous marriage. So we have 6.
6.
I don't say it very often. It's a lot to grasp.
She's in denial.
6.
6
Yeah.
kids before.
Like Irena said, clearly they like each other.
A lot.
Like
a whole lot.
And they don't have cable.
we go.
The perfect storm.
Netflix did that. Netflix. Thank you, Netflix.
Thank you.
I'm Jason Ferguson.
Okay.
Married 6 years.
6 years.
We've been
Wow,
together
that's
7 years.
So marriage has been?
Marriage has been awesome. It's been work. It's been work, but it's a full-time job. It really is. We've been very deliberate about each turn. It's been a journey. What do you think, Mitch?
I say marriage has been fulfilling. We've had our trials. We've had way more to celebrate than to lament. But, I say fulfilling mostly because I feel the growth happening for us individually and as a couple, even when we're being stretched beyond what at the time we feel like is our limit. I know that it's for our good and God is doing amazing things in us and through us. So I would say fulfilling.
Very nice.
So, you spoke on it briefly just now. You said God has been good to you guys. So, you're definitely believers, have a strong religious background. And you guys...
Well, our backgrounds, we definitely have a Baptist upbringing. I grew up in a Baptist church. So did he.
I mean,
Grew up in a Baptist
I can't
church.
throw a rock at my family tree without hearing a pastor or a deacon.
Okay, I'm the same way. I'm the same way. I'm the same way. So,
Yeah.
but there's a but coming because...
However,
However,
just as I went through life and I went through my journey, I veered off of a Baptist trail as far as my spirituality goes, and I went more like a universe, everything connected, talking to spirit on my own, and that worked for me and where I was aligned and how I was attuned.
okay. And what about you, Ezra?
I never really believed at all.
Okay.
I mean,
even
when I was-
growing up in it.
Even growing up, I mean, even when I was like 9, 10, I went to church every day. I did the plays, Easter Sundays. I never really believed. I just, growing up, I always felt like being a non-believer in the black community is kind of taboo.
Right. So you didn't say anything.
I just didn't say anything.
Right.
I just played my role.
Right. So what do y'all feel is the glue to your marriage that keeps you together? Because y'all don't even have the same beliefs. He's just a non-believer. He seems like he's very not even spiritual, but he's more like, listen, these are the details. This is life. This is what it is. People live, people die. You seem you're more about you're more about spirituality. How do you? What's the glue that keeps you guys, especially having kids?
You know, we grew up together. Like, we have been on this journey together. So it's all been about the work and the partnership that we were able to establish between the both of us. So it was always like I was writing for him and he was writing for me. Like, as a young girl, you know, sometimes you want that person who you want to just divulge everything to, you want to be vulnerable with, and that was him for me and me for him. And as we've grown in our relationship, we keep each other at the center, and we keep our communication at the very top of what we're going through. Because you guys express, you know, as you grow as an individual, but as you grow as a couple, it's good to just have that communication there. And really, we are what keeps us as the unit.
So you two. So, and I want to get back to, I have a question really quick. Clearly, God is the center of your marriage.
God is definitely the center, but we have, when we first taken our first weekend together in New York, I can't even look at the sign, but when we were there on the East Coast, when we first had that weekend together, we fasted before that weekend because we knew, like, this is intense. Like, this is Irena Davis and Jason Ferguson. Like, this is freaking intense, right? So we're like, we already knew that. And even when he showed up at the door and I hugged him, and I was just like, whoa, you know? And
High school was coming on back,
right?
The nostalgia.
But the nostalgia, and we were in we were eating salads in a restaurant in downtown Brooklyn, and we were just like, yeah, we gotta stay holy, we gotta stay right. Well, sorry to tell y'all. Well, anyway, but at the end of the day,
Pregnant. All right.
That was easy.
That was easy, I know, right? That happened a year later. At the end of the day, we were very serious. Like, we took it very seriously, spiritually, to make sure we stayed in tune with what we felt like God had for us, because that's what we were taught. And so, long story short, over time, things changed. You want to tell them?
Yeah, I would say as a couple, we're not religious. You know, we're spiritual. We believe, we align with the Christian belief system. We read the Bible, study the Bible, we attend church, but not because we must. We do it because we have a relationship with God through the person of Jesus Christ, right? So with that, we've seen a lot of change.
We got so many kids who can be in church.
So
tell them what you do.
So I was going straight there. When we first came together, church attendance was like really high on our list. I was serving. I was, you know, leading the praise and worship team at church. It was like, we serve in church. We're part of the church body. This is important. You know, we were really faithful in that. We got to a place over the years where we were like, yo, it's cumbersome to get
this whole
week. And I mean, like, get to
to
church on time. Now, in order to move our family, we had to move 2 strollers. Like, that's what we are. So we started to look at that, and thank God for technology. You know, we have church at the crib. We sit at home, and we just set the atmosphere. Praise and worship comes on. If the children are ready to go to their room for a nap, they can do that. But we were finding ourselves in church trying to, like, keep a 2-year-old still for 2 hours. And I was like, this is not even working right now. So I'm really happy that we were able to, you know, like you said, through communication, step away from our, you know, tradition and say, what really works for us as a family, and how can we do what's right for us? Skip what anybody else might think about it. That's not what this is right now.
It's funny that you say that, and then you say that, because the common theme is what works for you.
Yes.
You know, what works for you. So, and I ask this because I grew up in a Baptist church. She grew up Seventh-day Adventist. A lot of people you hear, when things aren't going your way and you need help, you pray. And God will give you an answer. You don't necessarily believe in God. So, there's no pray. What do you... I know you're a very logical guy. You look for answers. I know that.
The encyclopedia.
But how does that work? Because you believe in the universe. You believe in the power of the universe. So
I do.
You probably don't pray, but there's something in you that says that there's a higher being that kind of.
You know what?
How does that work with you two?
In a marriage, you have your peaks and you have your valleys.
Absolutely.
And whenever we're going through that, like, I want to feel it. You know, I don't like to sweep it under the rug. I meditate. And the great thing is, I know, like, me being where I'm at spiritually, I had already kind of like foresaw it in myself, but I knew where Ezra was, you know, and in that he's open. I think it would be rough if your partner wasn't supportive.
I was gonna ask
Yeah.
because I was gonna ask if there's ever a debate on whether your meditating is even necessary.
I mean, I'm not that person to just look down at somebody just because they believe something different from me.
Right.
I mean, when I was a teenager, yeah, you know,
Right.
when I was going into the struggles, yeah. As I go older, I calmed down. You know, I started just focus on what I believe in,
Right.
and what works for me.
We talk a lot about how we were raised and tradition and what our parents may think. How does that work for you guys when it comes to your parents
laughing.
per se? Your parents per se, you know, finding somebody whose thoughts and beliefs may or may not
Evenly
align.
yoked.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. You gotta be evenly
Because
yoked.
let's face it, that can be a deal
It's
breaker.
important.
It
Now,
can be
that's
a deal breaker
important.
for people when dating. And how does that work for you? Have you had any kind of contention with other family members or outside sources about your faith?
But I'm not gonna lie, I had trouble at first. We lived in Texas for a year, and I was like, Jay, like, you don't like this church? So I'm nodding off a little bit. I'm like, baby, what is happening? And I'm just like, and I'm over there like talking to God. I'm like, Lord, I don't know, am I losing him? Like, will he be in the street soon? You know? And I'm really being hard on him. I'm being hard on us. And one thing that has differed with us specifically is our prayer life. We were taught that we had to pray together in the same way. And we have learned that we have different ways of communicating with God. Like, it's very personal.
We're not the family who says, "Oh, it's 10 a.m. It's time for family prayer." You know, like because again, that sets a religious stance, and we never wanted that. We never wanted to just do things because that's what is supposed to be done. We want to be moved by the Holy Spirit as opposed to like following some religious practice. Because the more we follow a religious practice, you know, what you run the risk of is just moving further and further away from the essence of
The
why
essence
you
of
what
it,
it
right.
is.
Yeah, what are you
tradition
doing?
of
Yeah.
religion and
You just
going through the steps.
it's just another Google Calendar alert.
And even though Ezra doesn't subscribe to it fully, don't act like you don't be lighting your candles. You got your bracelets on. You know, we have some. You know, just that.
He's like, my wife makes me do these things. I go through the same thing. There's stuff I do right now that I only do it because
Like that with a red shoe. Can we zoom in on the red shoe? She's wearing the red shoe.
you got your bracelets, you got her shoes, I got mine.